With George Pickens officially out of Pittsburgh, the Steelers now find themselves at a critical crossroads. There's no more time to wait, no more room for speculation. They need to bring in a new wide receiver. And not just any guy. They need someone who's ready to step in and become that reliable number 2 alongside DK Metcalf. With the offseason heating up and training camps slowly creeping closer, this is the moment to act. There's been a lot of buzz this morning about what direction the Steelers might take, whether through free agency or trade. And if you haven't been paying attention, now's the time to tune in. Every move, every rumor could be the one that brings a new playmaker to Heinz Field. Let's start with free agency. It's often the first place teams look when trying to patch holes without giving up valuable draft capital. And in this case, it makes even more sense because the current crop of available receivers includes a few veterans who might still have enough gas in the tank to make a real impact. Signing a free agent gives you flexibility. You're not negotiating with another team. You're negotiating directly with the player and his agent. That means fewer complications, a faster process, and sometimes surprisingly affordable deals, especially when you're talking about guys in the later stages of their careers looking for one last solid opportunity. There are a few names that jump out immediately. Guys like Amari Cooper and Keenan Allen. Yes, they're both over 30. Yes, they've both had recent seasons where they fell short of expectations. But to write them off completely would be a mistake. I actually think they're being undervalued right now. Starting with Cooper, this is someone who just 2 seasons ago was a top 10 wide receiver in the league. Over 1,200 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, and a consistent 80-plus yards per game average. That kind of production doesn't just disappear overnight. He's a technician, one of the cleanest route runners in the game, with experience in the AFC North. He knows the division, the opponents, the pressure, and he's not afraid of it. Injuries slowed him down last year, and switching teams mid-season certainly didn't help. Chemistry with a new quarterback takes time, and Cooper never got that time. Still, even in a down year, he managed to crack the 500-yard mark. That tells you a lot. He's not the guy you bring in expecting him to carry the offense. That's DK's role. But as a number 2, facing secondary corners, that's where Cooper thrives. His footwork, his timing, his ability to create separation. Those skills don't age the same way speed does. He wouldn't be the flashiest signing, but he'd be smart and potentially really effective. Pairing him with Metcalf could create a balance that Pittsburgh hasn't had in a while. And with guys like Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson competing for the WR3 spot, Cooper could give this unit the structure and experience it needs. He brings size, route-running savvy, and most importantly, consistency, something that's been missing since the departure of their previous WR2. Then there's Keenan Allen, another veteran, another guy whose name might not get the headlines anymore. But let's not forget what he's capable of when healthy. Just 2 years ago, in Los Angeles, he had over 100 catches and crossed the 1,100-yard mark. His yards per game average was right up there with the league's best, and he found the end zone consistently. Yes, the injuries have piled up. Yes, he's lost a step. But Allen is still one of the smartest receivers out there. He understands spacing. He knows how to find the soft spots in zone coverage, and he's got sure hands. In fact, late last season, as things started to click a bit more for his team, Allen put up a monster game with over 140 receiving yards. So the flashes are still there. He might not be a deep threat anymore, but as a route-running technician in the short to intermediate game, still very dangerous. Now, if I had to choose between Cooper and Allen, I'd probably lean toward Cooper. Younger, slightly better production lately, and a better fit in the AFC North. But Allen isn't far behind, and if the Steelers decided to bring him in as a locker room leader and reliable third-down option, I'd totally get it. He'd immediately be the smartest receiver in the room and could help tutor younger players in ways that don't always show up on stat sheets. His presence alone would command attention. The third name on the radar is Gabe Davis. Recently let go by his team, Davis is a younger option with a different skill set. He's not the crispest route runner out there, but what he brings is size, physicality, and willingness to block, an underrated trait for wide receivers, especially in a run-heavy offense. He also has a knack for the big play. If Pittsburgh is looking to add a WR2 who can stretch the field vertically and draw attention away from Metcalf, Davis is worth a look. The contract would be cheap, the upside is there, and given his age, you could even be looking a longer-term contributor if things work out. Still, if we're being honest, I rank him third out of these 3 free agent targets. He's a role player. He'd add something different, but he doesn't have the polish that Cooper or Allen bring. At this stage, I'd rather bet on experience and route running over youth and potential, especially when we're talking about a team that believes it can compete right now. But that's just me. I'm curious what you guys think. If you had to pick one of these free agents, who would it be? Cooper? Allen? Davis? Or is there another name out there you'd rather see in the black and gold? And of course, we can't talk wide receivers without circling back to DK Metcalf. He's the guy now, the alpha. There's even talk that he might switch back to jersey number 14 with Pickens gone. Although for what I'm hearing, he's more likely to stick with number 4. Either way, the message is clear. This is DK's room now. He's the WR1, and Pittsburgh needs to find the right guy to play alongside him. But if we're talking about bold moves, splash plays, headline-grabbing acquisitions, then the conversation has to shift to trades. Because let's be honest, the pool of quality WR2 options in free agency is limited. To get someone truly impactful, someone who moves the needle, you're probably going to need to pick up the phone and make a deal. And 2 names keep popping up, Tyreek Hill and Brandon Ayuk. Yeah, I said Tyreek Hill. Sound crazy, right? But here's the thing. I had a chat with someone plugged in with the Dolphins, and he floated an idea that stuck with me. What if the price for Tyreek Hill is just a 3rd-round pick? That's it. 1 third-rounder. And Pittsburgh has not 1, not 2, but 3 of those for the 2026 draft. 1 comes from the compensatory pick for Dan Moore Jr.'s signing with the Titans. Another came from the Pickens trade. And of course, they still have their own. So if all it takes is one of those to get one of the most explosive receivers in NFL history, that's a serious conversation to be had. We're talking about a guy who leads the league in yards after the catch, who terrifies safeties every time he goes deep, who breaks games wide open in a single play. Sure, there are off-field concerns. Let's not ignore that. But on the field, Hill is locked in. When he plays, he's present. He's focused. That's not something you could always say about George Pickens. And that makes a difference. Yes, the contract is hefty, but only 1 year remains before the cap hit balloons. That means this could be a 1-year rental. You give up a 3rd-rounder, get a superstar in return, and if it doesn't work, you walk away clean. If it does, you extend him and build a terrifying receiving duo. That's the kind of swing that wins playoff games. That's how you separate from the rest of the AFC. But I also get the hesitation. If Miami really is willing to trade Hill for so little, wouldn't other teams be all over it? That's why I'm skeptical. It sounds too easy. Still, if there's even a sliver of truth to that rumor, Pittsburgh needs to be on the phone. Now, as for Brandon Ayuk, this one feels a bit more grounded. We've talked about him before. He's younger, cheaper, and might actually be more available. The Niners are loaded at receiver, and Ayuk is due for a big contract soon. Pittsburgh could slide in, offer a pick or 2, and get a rising star who fits the WR2 mold perfectly. He's sharp, explosive, and still improving. There are other trade names out there too. Some less exciting, but still worth monitoring. Players from Green Bay, Indianapolis, and even Kansas City, all teams with crowded receiver rooms, could be forced to part ways with someone due to cap constraints or roster depth. There are whispers about second-year players, rookies from last year who didn't break out, or veterans who've lost their starting roles. The Steelers could swoop in and make a move. But back to you. Which direction would you go? Are you team free agency, willing to take a swing on a veteran with something to prove? Or are you all in on a big-time trade, betting on a proven star to push this offense over the top? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I mentioned a bunch of names, and honestly, I'd be excited about almost any of them. The list is long because the potential is real. Even without Pickens, this receiving group has a chance to be better, smarter, more balanced, more dangerous. Now, beyond the high-profile names and big trades, there are still other, more under-the-radar possibilities that Pittsburgh should be monitoring. Not every move has to be a blockbuster. Sometimes, the smartest acquisitions come from teams that suddenly find themselves with too many mouths to feed at the receiver position. Take a look at what's happening in Green Bay, for example. They've quietly built one of the deeper wide receiver rooms in the league. A few of those guys had promising rookie campaigns, and others are still riding potential from college, but they can't all get the ball. That creates an opportunity. There's one particular receiver who stands out, a big-bodied, explosive athlete with a background from a major college program. He's shown flashes, especially after the catch, and he's played in systems that required him to be more than just a deep threat. He can block, he can work underneath, and he can line up inside or outside. The issue? He's had a few too many drops. Last season, he ranked near the top of the league in drop rate, and that inconsistency has made his team a bit hesitant to feature him heavily. Still, that same inconsistency could make him available, and if the price is a mid-round pick, that's a gamble worth taking, especially considering his physical tools and age. Another team to keep an eye on is Indianapolis. They've made some interesting additions in the draft, including wideouts who could immediately compete for starting reps that might make a second-year receiver expendable. The guy I'm thinking of came out of Texas, and while he didn't post earth-shattering numbers, his route running and YAC ability showed real promise. There have been some concerns about his practice habits and in-game focus, which is probably why he didn't get a bigger role. But talent-wise, he's got it. And if the Colts are willing to let him go, he could be a sneaky good fit in Pittsburgh, where the culture and leadership could help bring out his best. There are a few other fringe names floating around as well. Slot receivers who lost their role due to another teammate's breakout season. Bigger targets who never quite found chemistry with their quarterbacks. Even a couple of players who've been dropping cryptic social media posts, hinting that they might be open to a change of scenery. These are the types of guys you don't hear about in big headlines, but can end up making a real difference when October rolls around. So here's the real question. How aggressive is this front office willing to be? Because the window is still open. DK Metcalf is in his prime. The defense remains stout. The running game is reliable. All that's missing is that second reliable weapon in the passing game. And in today's NFL, if you're not keeping up with dynamic, multi-layered offenses, you're falling behind. At the end of the day, the Steelers have options, more than most teams in their position. That's why there's real optimism right now. Whether it's a seasoned vet like Cooper or Allen, a trade splash for someone like Hill or Ayuk, or a quiet move for an underused gem, the solution is out there. The only question is, which path will they take? But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a momentous move that has set the sports world buzzing, quarterback Trevor Lawrence, the much-celebrated first overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, has arrived at the Pittsburgh Steelers headquarters to finalize his contract. The arrival of Lawrence, who was previously associated with the Jacksonville Jaguars, marks the beginning of a new chapter in his career and could potentially alter the trajectory of the Steelers' future on the field. Lawrence, known for his impressive college career at Clemson University, where he led the Tigers to a national championship victory, was widely considered one of the most talented quarterbacks to enter the NFL in recent years. His decision to join the Steelers has sent shockwaves through the league, as Pittsburgh has long been in search of a franchise quarterback who could lead them back to championship contention. The Steelers, a team with a storied history of success, have faced uncertainty at the quarterback position in recent seasons, following the retirement of future Hall of Famer Ben Roethlisberger. While the Steelers have been able to maintain a competitive edge, they have lacked the stability and leadership under center that is necessary to consistently compete for titles. With Lawrence's arrival, the hope is that the team will find that missing piece, allowing them to remain one of the NFL's elite teams for years to come. Lawrence's potential impact on the Steelers cannot be overstated. Not only is he a highly skilled quarterback with the ability to make all the throws, but he also possesses the leadership qualities that are crucial for success at the highest level of the sport. Throughout his college career, Lawrence demonstrated poise under pressure, an ability to perform in big moments, and an innate football IQ that set him apart from many of his peers. These traits will undoubtedly serve him well as he transitions into the NFL. For the Steelers, Lawrence represents the future. The team has a deep and talented roster, but they have been searching for the right quarterback to guide them back to the Super Bowl since Roethlisberger's departure. The acquisition of Lawrence signifies their commitment to rebuilding and reestablishing themselves as a powerhouse in the league. While the signing is still in the final stages, Lawrence's presence at the Steelers facility signals that both sides are eager to get down to business. Fans of the team are already buzzing with excitement, as many believe that Lawrence has the potential to lead the Steelers back to glory. His arrival will undoubtedly be one of the most talked about stories of the upcoming NFL season, as expectations for his success in Pittsburgh continue to grow. As Lawrence prepares to take on this new challenge with the Steelers, the entire NFL world will be watching closely. Will he live up to the immense expectations placed upon him? Can he lead the Steelers to their next Super Bowl title? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. The Trevor Lawrence era in Pittsburgh has officially begun. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.